The S&P 500, the Dow, and the NASDAQ are suffering today, and even some of the darlings of Wall Street are not safe. Apple stock alone, as you guys can see, is down over $14 a share today. Well, technically as of yesterday, the stock is actually down almost 5%, trading at $298.18 per share. And I don't think the bleeding is actually at an end, guys. So let's just look at some of these things and look at what is actually causing Apple's stock to go down. So if you follow CNBC, Bloomberg, or MSNBC, you will see that the primary driver, the primary reason for these stock declines is actually the continued spreading of the coronavirus. I believe the last death toll I heard was somewhere within the region of 21,000, and this was across Asia. We've heard about it actually spreading more now into South Korea, and more and more cases are being identified within Japan. The major victims of this, however, seem to be tech companies as well as the logistics and manufacturing companies that are heavily dependent on China. And that actually makes sense. So if you look at today's trading in terms of just some of those companies, we'll look at Apple, for example. The stock traded down almost 5%, closing the day at $298.18 US per share. Over the last 5 days, you can see where Apple's share price has actually been trending down. The stock, which traded on February 19 at $323 per share, is currently trading, as I mentioned earlier, at around $298 per share. That's a significant decrease, guys. And it's even more interesting when you look at where the stock actually closed yesterday as compared to what it closed at today. Yesterday the high was $320 per share, and the low was just under $3. It was just over $3.10 per share. Today, however, we're seeing where the high $104.18 per share and the low is $289 per share. What this is telling me, guys, is that this bleeding hasn't ended as yet. And even if you look at the volumes trading, we're seeing an increase in the volumes that are trading, and basically in the negative direction. If you look here, you can see that on February 19, the total volume traded was around 23.4, or let's call it 23.5 million shares. Today, we're seeing 55.5 million shares trading. So that's more than double the amount of shares. Well, that's basically double the amount of shares trading. So we're seeing persons basically exiting their positions on Apple, basically shifting the sentiment now to more of a bearish sentiment. So, but let's look at some of the fundamentals of the business and identify what, if any, opportunity actually exists here. So I'm currently looking at the market cap and the PE ratio of Apple. Of course, I'm going to have to check back with their 10Q, which was released on January 29th. However, just from the summary information here on the NASDAQ, we're seeing that the trailing PE ratio is around 23.5, 24 times earnings, and the company actually has a forward PE of 22.93 times earnings. So I'm actually anticipating that this forward PE is going to come down if we continue to see a decrease in terms of the company's trading price. Here we're actually seeing that the annualized dividend for the company is around $3.08 US per share. And again, I'm anticipating that this current yield is actually going to increase as the share price tends down. Where will the bottom fall? Guys, your guess is as good as mine. We can't really say much about that until we basically get a full understanding of what's really being done to kind of curb the coronavirus and kind of get its impact to soften on these companies. So that's the major thing that we're going to be watching over the next few days. I'm going to say over the next few weeks, to see just how the coronavirus and its continued spread is going to continue to affect these companies. So guys, right now I'm actually looking at this being an opportunity for persons to actually get in on Apple stock. If you look at just the earnings growth over the last year or so, we can see that there is a consistent increase or trend towards an actual growth in terms of the earnings per share quarter over quarter, and you can actually see that right here. We're also seeing an increase in terms of the EPS for Q4. So here the reported EPS was $4.99, whereas the estimated EPS was $4.54 US. That was for 2019. Now for Q4 2020, the estimated EPS is $5.64, and I'm actually projecting that that's going to probably be a little bit higher based on the continued growth that we're seeing in terms of Apple services. As you guys can see here, Apple has a consistent history, at least over the last year, of beating estimates for their earnings per share, and I do project that that's actually going to continue into Q4, up to Q4 of 2020.